Hello and welcome to Township Talk. I'm Brady McHale. Township Talk looks at each of the departments that make up the administrative aspect of Lower Merion Township. And today I'm glad to welcome Director of Parking Services, Gerald Adams, to the show. Welcome, Jerry.
Hey, good morning, Brady.
Thank you so much for being here. I'm really excited to learn a little bit more about parking services, but first let's learn a little bit more about you. How long have you been working here in the township?
I've been working for Lower Merion Township for 37 years.
Wow.
Started in 1986, grew up in Belmont Hills, went to Harriton High School, and graduated from Westchester University.
Okay, so that's two different Rams, the Harriton High School Rams and the Westchester Rams.
Exactly right. Some were regular Rams, the others were golden.
Well, that's great. Now, how long have you been the Parking Services Director?
I've been the Parking Services Director for 2 years.
And it's my understanding that you've had some other roles here in the township as well.
I have. I started here when I was 17 years old in the Refuse and Recycling Department. Moved on to the Township Highway Department for 10 years, and then moved up to Building and Planning, where I handled code compliance and deed registration. After about 12 years there, a post opened up in Public Works again, which was like going home again. So I ended up in Public Works doing code compliance, enforcement, concrete, sidewalk, and sewer work. And then moved on also in the Public Works Department to the right-of-way coordinator position. And from that position, the township was gracious enough to give me an opportunity to be the Director of Parking Services.
Well, that's quite the resume, and all within the township. So we're fortunate to have employees like yourselves. What attracted you to the job, specifically parking services?
Yeah, my family has a bit of a family history with the township. We have had numerous members of my family have worked here. And growing up, my grandparents, some of my uncles, as well as my cousins, who were a little older than me, had worked at the township, and there was nothing but great things said about it. So when I graduated from high school, I wasn't 100% sure that I wanted to go to college initially. So I was able to put in and get a summer position here with the township, and they kept me on after that summer. And I've stayed ever since, but I did use 11 years to get a undergraduate or a bachelor's degree from Westchester, doing it all through night school.
Wow, well, good for you. I know that takes a lot of work, especially while having a full-time job and a family. So tell us a little bit about parking services, the department, what you guys do, how it works.
It's quite underappreciated. A lot of folks only see the negative aspect of it. But what we do is we monitor the parking lots, we monitor the metered lots, we monitor permit parking, and we monitor residential parking. A lot of our business areas have 2-hour time zones on the meters as well as on the residential streets. So our attendants are walking through the lots, making sure that people are paying their meters. We're trying to make sure that the meters are kind of circulating with vehicles, so that the businesses have the opportunity to have new customers come and park close to the business, rather than feeling like they have to park, a block away or 2 blocks away. And that's why parking meters usually are restricted in certain areas to 2-hour or 3 hours or even 1 hour in cases. We do have 12-hour meters, but the basic premise of the meters is to get the vehicles rotating in and out of the spaces so that the businesses have the opportunity to have their customers park in front of the spaces. Now, the residential parking permits, a lot of the business districts have problems with residential areas where a lot of the businesses have their employees and or their customers parking off-site, and it clogs up a lot of the residential parking. So when the folks who live on the streets come home from work, or they stay home from work and they want to park in the street, they're unable to find a parking space. A lot of that happens in Bryn Mawr as well, where the college students rent. Sure. So these issues, we enforce these issues. We time in the vehicles, and if the vehicles do not move, who do not have permits to park, they get tickets.
You mentioned something interesting. You said a lot of residents or those visitors that come through the township only know the negative aspects of the job, of the enforcement, the violations that they get in their window, in their window.
Correct.
How many officers, is it meter officers or meter enforcement officers, how many are working for you?
We have a total of 7 attendants. The 7 meter attendants are out in the field every day. Bryn Mawr is split into 2 districts. Ardmore is split into 2 districts. We have an area in Ballackinwood that we do. We have one attendant that comes in the evenings. They work 12 to 8 because up in Bryn Mawr, we have areas that are enforced 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. rather than the typical 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. for the rest of the township. And again, a lot of that is based on the needs for parking enforcement on the residential streets, where you have 4 people living in an individual home, and the streets can't handle that. So when you have 4 kids from, say, Villanova, Rosemont, one of the local colleges, they all want the ability to park on the street because a lot of those smaller homes do not have driveways. So we had to restrict the number of vehicles that can be on the street for each property. That led to the residential permits. And we make sure that folks who have visitors or random people who come to visit, if the kids are having parties or just having friends over, that it's a limited amount of time that they can be there so that the residents have a place to park when they return to their homes.
It makes complete sense. And now let's talk about a little bit more about tickets, because I know that's something that piques a lot of folks' interest. Where can someone pay if they get a violation? Where can someone pay that citation?
Lower Merion Township allows you to pay in numerous ways. You can come to our window during normal working hours, 8:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m., and pay your parking tickets. If you don't have time to do that, we have a drop box outside where you can put your ticket and your payment in an envelope and drop it in the drop box. The third way you can pay is you go onto the township's website. Township website has an icon at the bottom that says pay your parking ticket. All you have to do is put your license plate in. Any active parking tickets that you have will pop up and you will be able to pay them. The only inconvenience about that is if you do have more than one, you have to pay them one at a time, log off, and then log back in. So if you had multiple tickets, you'd be wise to stop in the office and you can pay it in one fell swoop and not pay a second or third extra convenience fee if you're using your credit card.
And if someone wants to appeal a ticket, they obviously can. And how would that process work? That
process would be you would either call the Parking Services Department. The Parking Services Department is 610-645-6230. You explain what happened and why you believe the ticket was issued in error or unfairly, and then that comes to me for review.
What if someone loses their ticket?
It's very simple. If you lose your ticket, you just call the township with your license plate number. You call us at Parking Services at the number I referenced, or you can go onto the township website to get our number. You call, you give us our license plate number, and we can pull up the ticket number for you. We'll advise you what that is, and you can go online and pay.
So we're coming into the summer months, and a lot of people will be moving around the area, have a little bit more free time. Is there any recommendations that you have for residents or visitors that are coming through Lower Merion Township for the summertime? One good thing is with the summer, a lot of people leave and go on vacations, but we also have folks that come and visit us too.
Correct. Anyone who comes into the township just needs to remember that where you see a parking meter, you need to pay for parking, except for Sundays. Okay? After 6 p.m. also, you do not have to pay for parking. But 8 a.m. to 6 p.m., you have to pay your parking meters in Lower Merion Township Monday through Saturday. We do have a free 10-minute button. So let's say you're here for summer school, say at Villanova, and you're going up to the Chipotle or you're going somewhere on Lancaster Avenue to purchase food. You park at a meter. A lot of people think they're going to run in and run out before they can get a ticket, but oftentimes there's a wait or a delay. We try to accommodate that without trying to make you pay for parking. What there is a free 10-minute button, you push the button, it gives you a free 10 minutes. So you can run in, grab your stuff, and leave. If it's going to take longer than 10 minutes and you get a ticket because you were in there longer than 10 minutes, that is a valid parking ticket and you would need to pay the fine. So it's important that you put the initial 10 minutes on there. If you see a line, go back out to the meter and put a dime, a nickel. Our parking is very reasonably priced. You get a half hour for 25 cents. For a quarter, you get a half hour. You get 50 cents, you get an hour. So we're not asking you to pay much, but you do have to pay for the time that you might need, or even a little bit more if you fear there might be a delay.
Thank you, Jerry. That was so much information. We're actually going to talk a little bit more about meters coming up in just a few minutes. We'll be right back with Jerry Adams here on Township Talk. Welcome back to Township Talk. I'm Brady McHale, and we're talking to Jerry Adams, the Director of the Parking Department for Lower Merion Township. Jerry, I know we just went over a bunch of information and some really informative stuff, but now let's talk about permits and perhaps some forms that people might need to fill out for parking. Is there a difference between neighborhood parking and business parking?
There is. We have 3 different areas for what are referred to as commercial or lot permits. Those lot permits run for 6 months and they're $240. The $240 number seems very large when you first hear it, but when you consider the breakdown of it being for 6 months, it really averages out to about, I believe, about $1.50 a day for parking, which is pretty reasonable compared to most of the areas around here. We have commercial lots that accommodate those permits. It's important to remember that the commercial lot permits are not valid at township parking meters. You must park in a parking permit space. The 3 areas where we have permits for parking, for lot parking, are Bala Cynwyd, Ardmore, and Bryn Mawr. The permits are not accepted. If you purchase a Bryn Mawr permit, it is not accepted to use it in Ardmore or Bala Cynwyd. Same for the other 2. Bala Cynwyds are valid for Bala. Ardmore is valid for Ardmore, but they do not cross boundaries. They have to be used in the districts that they are issued for. Our residential parking permits are unique in that a lot of the residents will request 2-hour parking. The commissioners approve it or deny it, but when it is approved, they are then eligible to purchase a residential parking permit. And the residential parking permits cost $20. They're good for a calendar year, so it's about 10 cents a day, 11 cents a day for us to come and enforce for each resident those streets. The permits, again, they're $20, and if your street is restricted, I apologize, for 2-hour, 1-hour, 4-hour, any type of a restricted parking on your street, you are eligible for 1 and possibly 2 residential parking permits.
And how would a neighbor or a resident in a neighborhood, how would they know if a car belongs or not? Where would the permit be?
The permit is typically hung on your mirror, your rear view mirror. Some folks will attach it to the Velcro or whatever they utilize for their Easy Pass, and other folks have mirrors that are completely different than what I grew up with, where it's a very dense anchor to the windshield. And the permit will not fit. In those cases, we advise people, because what we want them to do is to tape it above their inspection stickers, because when we look at the vehicle, if we do go to issue a ticket on the vehicle, then we will look at the VIN number, and that is right above or right behind the inspection stickers. The permit applications that you reference are all available on the township website. Great.
And the application is reviewed by yourself?
No, the application is reviewed by our clerks in our office. It is imperative that we have very important information from you. If you are seeking a residential parking permit, your street is restricted to 2-hour parking, you do not have a driveway, and you have 2 vehicles. What you must provide us is documentation and proof that you live at the property. You have to provide a lease, a deed, or the car registration that shows that the car is registered to the owner of the property at that address. You cannot get a residential permit for someone who lives off-site to park on your street.
That's really important information. Let's switch gears a little bit. As meters are all along our roadways, maybe not in the residential neighborhoods, but there's an app, you know, a telephone app. You alluded to it earlier, the Park Mobile app, which is available in the App Store or wherever you get your apps. Can you kind of explain how that works? I know there's a process.
I can. The Park Mobile app is available in your App Store, whether it be Android or iPhone. And what you do is you download the app, you put a credit card in the app, and each one of our meters in Lower Merion Township has a very specific green sticker on it with a zone number. That zone number is for you to access the area to park. So what you do is you bring up the app, you search for the zone in the search bar. Inside the search bar, You put the zone in, it will pop up, and you can pay for your parking. It does charge a 50-cent transaction fee for every transaction that you make. The township does not share in that transaction fee revenue. The only thing we get, if you park for 12 minutes, we will get 10 cents. Okay, but Park Mobile will receive 50 cents extra for the transaction fee. So that's how they make their money. We adopted it because we felt it was important for residents to have another way to pay, because everyone doesn't have a change jar in their car anymore, like we used to when we were young, so we had $2 to buy gas.
And speaking of other ways to pay, what about the Easy Smart Park card?
We, the township, offer smart cards. They're unique. They do cost $5 each. They're good for years. They will last you years. It is prepaid, so you would come in and purchase a smart card. You'd put $20 on the card, so it would be a $25 payment. And as soon as you make that payment, the card is active, and you can use it. You slide it into the meter. The meter will jump up increments of time. When you think you've put enough on, you pull the card out. The unique thing about it is, if you go in to pick up your food and it takes 2 minutes, and you're like, wow, I just paid for 12 minutes.
Right.
You slide the card back into the meter, and the time that you did not use will be returned to the card. Park Mobile will not do that. If you put coins in, you cannot do that. If you consider that you're paying 50 cents a transaction when you use Park Mobile every time you park in Lower Merion Township, versus the smart card where you pay a one-time fee of $5, after 10 uses of Park Mobile, you've covered that $5. So anyone who parks in Lower Merion Township often would benefit significantly using the smart card rather than Park Mobile. And I like Park Mobile. It's valuable for folks who come in randomly. But if you park in Lower Merion Township to work, and you park at a meter or in our parking garage, this will save you money.
That's great. Like everything, technology sometimes doesn't work or has glitches. What happens, or what are your recommendations if there's an issue with a meter or an issue with the application? How can someone find help?
The best thing to do is, if you are having an issue with the meter or the Smart Park card or the Park Mobile app, is take a screenshot, a screenshot of the error that you will receive on your phone. That way, if you do get a ticket, you can send us the ticket as well as the screenshot to say, this is what occurred. I'm not sure why I got the ticket, but Park Mobile did not allow me to park or did not allow me to pay. The meters will have an error flashing. If there's a problem with the meter, again, take a photo of it so that you have a screenshot of it. So should you get a ticket, you can submit that to us for review and deactivation.
Thank you very much. That was something that I was actually curious about myself. So we're running out of time here. It has been so great talking to you. 37 years here at the Township, and not just as Director of Parking Services, but all around from Public Works and beyond. Is there anything else that you'd like to add or tell us a little bit, about parking services?
It's very important that people understand that the parking meters are there to help produce revenue for the township, as well as to move cars in and out of spaces so that the businesses have spaces for their customers to park. If those folks come to frequent a business and they, there's never a parking spot in front, and they get frustrated, so they may not come back to that business. So that's our goal, is to keep rotating vehicles in front of the businesses in our areas. There are lot meters, or there are lots for the employees to park. We do have 12-hour meters in a lot of our business areas if you need places for your employees to park. The attendants are out there trying to do their job to help the township residents, businesses, and the township in general. They really are not respected. I would ask that in the future that everyone try to treat the attendants fairly. They're doing a job. They're good people. And they deserve the respect from the residents and the business community. Absolutely, being kind, because I'm sure it's a very thankless job, and like so many of our employees here,
don't get the recognition that they deserve, and especially your clerks and everyone else who works in parking services. So Jerry, unfortunately, our meter is out of time, so we got that 10-minute button. But I really thank you for your time today and joining us here on Township Talk. If you want to learn more, please visit our website at lowermerion.org. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.